The Space Museum, the seventh serial of Doctor Who's second season, first broadcast in four parts from the 24th of April to the 15th of May 1965. In this story, the first Doctor, played once again by William Hartnell, as well as his companions Ian Chesterton, played by William Russell, Barbara Wright, played by Jacqueline Hill, and Vicky Pallister, played by Maureen O'Brien, end up on the planet of Zeros, and it soon becomes evident to them that they've jumped a time track. They've arrived on the planet Zeros, and everyone around them seems unable to see them, which the Doctor realises means they've jumped a time track, and basically they've arrived before they've arrived. However, while looking around at the Space Museum, they find that the planet Zeros is home to two races, the peace-loving Zerons and the war-loving Morlocks, and the Morlocks have set up the Space Museum as a kind of record of all of their victories over the years, so their vast conquests, and it seems that the Morlocks Empire was very much like the Roman Empire on Earth. They had it good, they were doing well, they had an entire empire, and then over time it just kind of peaked out. But while exploring the museum, they see something which frightens them. That being cases seemingly with them frozen inside. And because they've now technically seen the future, it's a race against time to try and change it. Try and find a way to stop themselves ending up in those cases. But as the Doctor and his friends keep realising, is changing the future really that simple? I mean, by doing something different, are you changing the future, or are you merely doing what you were originally supposed to do? Anyway, the leader of the Morlocks is a guy named Lobos, played by Richard Shaw, who's the Morlock Museum administrator and the colony's governor. And he's pretty much just bored and is just really wanting to hunt them down just to say another victory. And then the other ones that I think are worth mentioning are the Zerons, the peace-loving people, to which the three main ones we see are Sita, played by Peter Sanders, Daco, played by Peter Craze, and Tor, played by Jeremy Bulloch, who they're shown that they want to plan a revolution so the Zerons can once again take back their planet from the Morlocks, but they're a bit pessimistic, and every attempt they've tried, they've realised that the Morlocks are more powerful than them. Now, this story, I do actually think it has a lot going for it. I mean, I thought that very much like the third Doctor story, The Mutants, I was just kind of expecting this one to be the one that you just kind of watch just to say you watch it. It's the one that you sit through in order to get to the good stuff. However, like with The Mutants, I actually think this story is better than people were letting on. I mean, it's got some great moments in it. I mean, it's nice to see Ian Chesterton actually get some good scenes. I mean, throughout most of the time, I thought William Russell's Ian Chesterton was supposed to be kind of very diplomatic in his views. I mean, he usually tries to get his way out of a problem by talking his way out of it. Kind of talking it through, seeing if we can't come to some sort of solution, and doing so in a peaceful manner, which I think most of the time that's what Ian Chesterton's character was supposed to be. But this time you can actually see him go toe-to-toe with some of the Morlocks and actually hold his own. I mean, even taking some of them hostage in order to try and get his way back to the Doctor, who's been partially frozen at this point. That's pretty cool to see. It's nice to see Vicky Pallister as well, played by Maureen O'Brien, help the Zerons with their plans for revolution. I mean, she manages to work quite well, and even her solution for getting into the armory, they've got a machine that will only let them in if they speak the truth and answer a series of questions. She manages to reprogram it so as long as she tells it the truth, not necessarily the answers that it wants, but just tells it the truth just once, they can get into it. And I actually think it's a pretty good story. As I said, I kind of expected this one to just be the one that you sit through in order to get to the good stuff, because obviously the next story, The Chase, would be the departure story for William Russell and Jacqueline Hill. But honestly, this story is better than people will give me it credit for. And I do actually think it's a good story. I mean, the Space Museum, I don't know if I consider it one of the classics, but you know what? I'd say people should definitely take a second view of this one. I mean, you might just find something more in it that you didn't know before. And hell, even just the appearance of a Dalek shell and the idea that somehow the Morlocks managed to defeat a Dalek in order to get its shell inside the museum, it's kind of interesting to think about. And of course, the next story would be The Chase. This would of course see the departure of Ian Chesterton and Barbara Wright, and the next appearance of the Daleks. And that'll of course be the next story that I end up watching through. What do I think of that one? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, until I get to The Chase, that's my quick review of the Space Museum. I definitely think you should check it out. Anyway, until next time, see ya.